It was probably the scariest click I've ever done. It was 17,000 people, one email. Immediately, we had 60% open rate. We had 4 to 5 top donors saying, this is amazing. When our top donors were saying something, and then even the lower tier donors were like, thank you so much. We sent that up. We're like, hey, this is what's happening. Board couldn't say anything bad against it. Our new leadership were like, this makes us look great. It just took off.
Welcome to the EverTrue Innovators podcast, where we meet the innovative voices behind the ideas moving fundraising forward.
Keith, how are you?
Well, frankly, Hannah, I'm a little jealous that we won't be in matching outfits like our upcoming guests.
Same, but lucky for us, podcasting is an audio medium. So let's turn our attention to the brilliant minds at the New Mexico State University Foundation.
Their Thank Every Aggie campaign is exactly what it sounds like, and it is indeed brilliant.
Monthly student videos plus heartfelt messaging equal to 60% open rates and donor love.
Let's go to the winners of the Community Connector Award, New Mexico State University Foundation.
Would love if you could tell us a little bit about who you are and your background in fundraising and stewardship, and we can kick things off from there.
Sure. I'm Chevy. I've been with the foundation for about 6 months. My official title is Impact Officer. So my job is to be showing what we do and where all our money comes in and the impact it's actually having on our students and in our community. I don't really have a background in stewardship or fundraising, more of a customer service background. So I'm good at talking to people and getting to know them. So that's me.
My name is Nick Dakins. I've been with the foundation since 2023, so it's been about 2 years. And my background actually comes from sales and marketing. I was a salesman for a solid 10 years and decided to get my soul back a little bit and come into the nonprofit world.
I'm Sonia Colantuono. I've been with the NMSU Foundation for 3 years. I've been a part of the stewardship team as a stewardship officer for a year. My background is in finance, and that's what I did the first 2 years at the foundation.
And for some reason, I want to add this. I feel like having not a background in fundraising literally added to what we've been able to do. We don't think like fundraisers. We think like an everyday person who is like, oh yeah, I should donate to them.
And me and Sonia are NMSU alumni also. So we have that perspective that leads into what would we want to be getting told if we were trying to get asked for money and not the one asking for it. So yeah, like Nick said, it just gives us a little bit different perspectives for what we do.
Awesome. Something you touched on, thinking not necessarily like a fundraiser, maybe in sort of those dogmatic ways, that I think that leads perfectly into our warm-up question. It's something that we ask everyone that we speak to on the Innovators podcast, and that is, what is one piece of conventional wisdom about stewardship or fundraising that you secretly disagree with?
Tough question, because asking for money is always a difficult thing to do. And luckily enough, we don't have to do that very often. We're in charge of just the saying thank you part, but it's knowing what somebody's going to actually believe. You can say thank you all you want and have your hand out while you're saying it and asking for more money. And that's not going to make people want to give you more. What we try to do is make them feel seen, make them actually feel thanked, and in a heartfelt way to where they know, yes, we might ask them for more money, but that's not all we're here for. We actually appreciate and care why they gave money in the first place and what they're giving it for.
I think to add to that is learning your constituents' background. Know why they're giving. You can't do that with your couple thousand people, but if you're going to end up focusing on one person or a set of people, grasp what's going on. Once you know these people, that's when you're able to really nail home the thing.
It's interesting is the large pool of our donor base, they aren't alumni. And as an alum, I want to thank them genuinely, because if they fell in love with the university just by either coming to a football game or for some reason retiring in this city, I want to make sure that they feel that gratitude because it's a life changer for many of us, especially for someone like me.
Well, that's a great attitude to have overall. I would say donor centric gets thrown around a lot, but that just feels very like human centric. There's people story centric and actually digging a little bit deeper than maybe beyond how much they gave or even are they interacting with your social media or something like that, but to actually really dig a little bit deeper. It's great to hear.
Well, that's a good segue into why we are here today. And it's to talk about the Thank Every Aggie campaign that you all run. Very excited to dive in more to that and learn the ins and outs of it. Would you mind sharing the story behind the campaign and how it came to be such a central part of your stewardship strategy?
Sure. So Thank Every Aggie, or as we call T, because we love acronyms here. Our T campaign came to be when I first started. It was just me and one other person within our stewardship department. And all we were doing was thanking maybe 1,000 to 2,000 people. It was for anybody that donated $1,000 or more. We were missing our base. And our base of people that were donating were literally from pennies up to $1,000. And like that was our huge base. And at that time, our leadership was not very focused on that. They were looking at the bigger donations. And so we were just writing form letters, which were very boring to begin with. If you've ever read a form letter, someone saying thank you, you probably put it in the trash. It was not what we needed to be. So after some research and going to some conferences and listening to other people, I found that we were literally in the same boat as everybody else. And then I found out we had ThankView. And I was like, well, why don't we just literally send an email to everybody? Like, why? It can't be that hard. So that's how T was created. Let's thank anybody and everybody that donates. So I went to our data analyst and was like, hey, can we pull the data from a penny up to $1 billion? Like, is that possible? How many is that? And unfortunately, it's not as many as we would like, but it was enough to get us going. And that's how the campaign was created. So if you donate a penny to NMSU, you're getting a video. If you're donating $1 million, you're getting the video. So we just made it even across the board and tried to really focus on that human aspect. If you're donating, you're still getting a thank you because you're worth it. You were helping these kids on campus. So that's where the campaign came from. Everybody who donates will get it no matter what.
I love the you're worth it message, whether that be like not exactly what you are telling them, but what you are showing them in every interaction, I think is really special.
I'm really curious because at the time when you were noticing that there was this large gap, this huge group of donors that weren't necessarily being thanks, how did you end up convincing leadership that this was worth it? Was it the ease of technology? Was it an impassioned plea? Was it matching polos? Please let us know.
Matching polos came later.
Yeah.
No, what it ended up boiling down to was literally the cost effectiveness thing. So we already had the subscription. It was already going. And there was no reason to try to reinvent a wheel when we already had these resources. So essentially what we did was we built a business plan of like, hey, we're already spending this. This is what we're spending on these letters. This is the number of people we could reach versus the number of people that we are. Imagine the ROI. So it came down to numbers, unfortunately, which it always will. It came down to like, how many people do you want us to touch? Do you want us to only keep focusing on these X number of people? Or do you want to see if there's another person that out there that could do that as long as they get a thank you? It was a mixture of everything that you said. It was an impassioned plea. It was polos. It was the statistics behind what we had there. So we had to build it and show why it mattered.
That first campaign, we went out to 17,000 people. That first Thank Every Aggie video that started all this off went to 17,000 of our past donors. They went all the way back to 2017 and picked up anybody that had donated anything. And
Wow.
sent them that video, and it was about 17,000 people that they had good email addresses for. And that's what kicked off the whole campaign in the beginning.
The responses ranged from people who just donated pennies to some of our top donors. All were like, oh, wow, thank you.
And there was also a realignment within our organization. And our new leadership realized and knew coming in that there was a need to think and that hadn't been thinking. And so we knew that that was one of like our biggest opportunities.
Well, learning more about how this all kind of came to life, getting that leadership buy-in, and then why it was noted as something that was important to continue. Can we talk about what that actually looked like, getting it set up and keeping it going month after month, year after year, and kind of how did that initial rollout go and what did it look like?
Sure. So I sat down with the data analyst every day and was like, hey, help me crunch these numbers. Like, I need help to build this campaign and show why it's important. And like Sonia said, once we had a realignment and our new leadership came in, we're like, perfect. Let's slap this down on the table. Let's see what we can do. And we're very open to the idea, especially when we're like, hey, we're going to go back 8 years worth of data, 8 years of anybody that's given. And we created a video with one of our students and we had to show the video to all of our new leadership. They took it to the board and we had to keep telling the leadership, like, this is why we're reaching 17,000 Aggies. And going forward, we're going to thank every single person that has donated. Like, it was a constant battle of telling them why. But then once it went out the door, and it was probably the scariest click I've ever done. It was 17,000 people, one email. Immediately, we had 60% open rate. We had 4 to 5 top donors saying, this is amazing. When our top donors were saying something, and then even the lower tier donors were like, thank you so much. We sent that up. We're like, hey, this is what's happening. Board couldn't say anything bad against it. Our new leadership were like, this makes us look great. It just took off. So that's where we're at this point. We're just trying to reinvent every month so it doesn't get stale or boring like the form letters, and just make the videos a little bit more entertaining. It's great.
Yeah, that's what we've started for the last 4 months. We've been doing 80 movies parodies. So we've gotten through The Breakfast Club, Teen Wolf, Ferris Bueller. They've been some of our more popular videos. A lot of our donors, they'll reply back to us and say, oh, I loved this movie when I was in college because they watched it while they were at NMSU. They loved the songs and just it reminded them of the movie that they loved. They thought it was funny. And you can make somebody laugh. I feel like it goes a long way to getting on their good side. Yeah, we did Ferris Bueller, the classroom scene.
Mm-hmm.
And
with Ben Stein.
Exactly. And I made the cameo as the teacher. And Sonia and Nick made cameos as the board students. That was one of our more popular ones. We all loved it anyway. So
yeah, that's kind of how we come up with the videos. If we laugh with our videographer, we're like, all right, cool. Like, let's try it and see what happens.
And even the vibe to go make the videos is great because our videographer, he'll put on music that goes with the movie. And we're all in golf carts and students are there too. And we're like in the moment, in the vibe and just having fun.
We have the students dress there what they think 80s is like. Like for The Breakfast Club, we're like, we need to be the goth. You need to be the jock. You need to be the Molly Ringwald characters. They take their inspiration from that. Even if they've never seen the movie, we make them look it up. So that way they can see what their character's supposed to be.
Required reading beforehand or required watching.
That was so, I hope, inspiring for folks to be able to hear that it's just so clear that you had so much fun creating and continue to have so much fun doing this and are having fun working with students. A lot of people are often a little nervous to try some more unique videos, something maybe a little less traditional than someone sitting in front of a camera and saying, thank you so much, with various backgrounds. But I do totally agree with you. I think the creative, the fun, it connects. Nostalgia is huge. It's a wonderful heartstring to tug for some of these videos, especially if it harkens back to their college days, which is a great idea. And all your stories make me really miss when we're now all remote. I do miss being in the office because we have made many a silly video. We do still do it sometimes. Hannah and I were talking about before. I don't know if you got to see our weird and bizarre take on a Hallmark movie for the holidays. But yes.
Maybe for tea.
Yeah. Any of those are, Well, Hannah, little known fact, but I'm going to have to put you on blast here. Hannah was actually an extra in a Hallmark movie, an actual Hallmark holiday movie, kind of like grooving in the side on a scene. What was the movie?
The Ghosts of Christmas Always.
The Ghost of Christmas.
So that haunts you, yes? Like,
yes. Yeah.
So I love how you were talking about having fun with the students. And I think that leads into our next question about how do you involve the students in the process, getting a little more into the nitty gritty, besides being in the videos themselves and assigning them movies to watch, which I love. Are they involved in the scripting, in the production, in terms of kind of helping with the production? Please spill the tea.
Well, we were fortunate that our organization had a huge student hiring event. So our organization had 30 plus students that we could utilize. And their involvement goes far beyond just being, in front of the camera. We have one student who now does the visual boards. He'll provide content. He's the man behind the camera sometimes in front of the camera. And our senior videographer is allowing him to even direct. And so it's funny because they'll even direct us like, I need more attitude. I need more, whatever it may be. And so it's awesome to see their personalities come to light and for them to feel that comfortable with us as well. Because it's just a genuine, heartfelt thank you that we want to share. Our very first thank you video all just came from the student. It was just letting her know like, hey, can you just give a general thank you? And how would it have impacted you if you have received a scholarship or hadn't received, and she just gave her a genuine, heartfelt thank you. The way we keep it fresh and meaningful is we pretty much just go with whatever's going on in the month. We'll see what school life, student life is like. I think March, we did like March Madness kind of
That was
video
where,
with Teen Wolf.
yeah, Teen Wolf came in there. Yeah.
And so sometimes it's just feeling the vibe for the month and seeing what's going on. And I think there was one month that we even had some pushback from leadership just with our creative concept. We wanted to do kind of like a grease, when students are running down the hallway because we have like this great staircase, just kind of throwing everything around. And that got pushed back. And we pivoted and still did a fun video. We met in the middle. Been a good time with the students.
I love that they're getting front row firsthand experience in the production of these too, for multiple reasons. But I think it's awesome because they can add that to their resume that they helped out with this concept and video production and like these ideas. But then also something we've been talking about a lot in the Innovators series and that we hear from other folks across the industry is educating students about philanthropy and like how do you break through to show them the impact and keep them involved in it while they're students on campus so that hopefully then that continues and they have a positive affinity afterwards. And I really love this as an example of how you can do that because they're involved in this process of thanking these donors and they'll remember that for years to come that they were able to be involved in that too. Well, the next question that I was going to ask was kind of about the production and workflow and how you're planning things out. And you had mentioned that you kind of go off of themes based off of the month. How far in advance do you feel like you're planning out what you'll do? What does that planning process look like?
A little all over the place. So we had a fiscal year roll forward with all of our creative concepts and the content and the direction. And that was more because leadership wanted to know what were our ideas, what we're thinking about. But our best work honestly came from just being spontaneous. There were times that we're like, oh my gosh, it's what date? We only have 3 or 4 days to do this. And sometimes that was our best video. We get our best open rate. So it's a little bit of everything. We still go back to the roll forward to get ideas. Once Chevy came on board, he came in with so many new creative concepts because Nick and I were just kind of fried and we didn't know anymore. And he was a breath of fresh air. And like I said, we don't follow a content calendar, so to speak. The only thing that we can ensure our constituents and our donors is that they are going to receive the video every month.
I bet they're looking forward to it at this point.
Yeah. And we've gotten several replies back saying that they love the video and they can't wait for next month's. And they whenever they see those videos, it's something that they look forward to. And not everybody donates every month, but whenever they do get one, it's something that they're excited to see what we came up with next.
That's great. I applaud you. I think that this could be seen as almost victims of your own success because now you're like the SNL team having to work through, but it sounds like you work well under pressure. So kudos for keeping it going, actually having a creative series like this. You're absolutely the first people that we spoke with for the Innovators that have done anything like this. Coming from a creative background too, I could not love it more.
Thank you.
So let's talk about some of the success that you've had with open rates over 60%, and donors, as you've mentioned, are actually responding to you and saying that they're actively looking forward to the next videos. Are there any specific messages or moments that have really stood out to you since you started releasing these very creative monthly videos?
Yeah. And actually, with our Happy Birthday Aggie campaign that we kicked off this year, we've had a baseball coach that was at NMSU back in the 60s. He replied back to us with a very heartfelt letter saying, "Thank you for remembering me. I've always loved my time in Las Cruces, and seeing this Happy Birthday video and seeing the shots of campus that were in it, it brought me back there." We've had people say, "Oh, thank you so much. I remember being there in college and I met my wife there, and that's where we started our life together." And being an alum and have met my wife there, that message particularly really hit home, that people appreciate what we do. And it's not so much of the money at that point. It's like we mentioned earlier, it's letting people remember that they're appreciated for no matter what they've given to us. And those happy birthday videos are people that have given in the past, and they might not have given in a couple months or a year, but they're going to get that happy birthday video because they're still part of us. They're still part of NMSU, and they're always an Aggie.
Wow. Yeah, it's wonderful to hear always of folks that have always had the kind of connection, but then get so excited when the university or the organization actually ends up reaching out to them. It just sort of reignites a lot of the excitement. So I'm glad to hear that you're receiving some notes like that.
Have you tried, I'm thinking of like the alumni love stories. Have you done anything for Valentine's Day yet in your rotation of things?
I need a
Good
bench.
idea.
Not. Well, in like February, our T video was Say Anything. And so boombox
perfect.
outside the window and everything. And people really like that one too. But yeah, that's definitely a good idea going for next February.
Love it.
Yeah. Well, we put out a resource called Your Year of ThankView, but I think we just need to do NMSU's Year of ThankView. And
Yeah.
we're just going to track you guys month to month, if that's okay.
I know. I feel like I could keep talking and hearing what's next for you all. But to wrap things up, as we like to have this Innovators series be a resource for other folks in the industry who are looking for some inspiration, for another institution who's saying, we'd love to do something like this, what is some advice that you would share to help them get started? And if you were starting this all over again, is there anything that you would do different that you would recommend they try out?
Honestly, find the ROI. You're going to have to pitch that to your bosses. That's the first thing you're going to want to do. After that, though, just like have fun with it. It's not meant to be boring. Thanking people is not meant to be boring. It's meant to be happy. It's meant to be fun. And don't lose that, because that's making a T video every month is the time I'm like, all right, cool. I get to do something fun, not boring. So my advice is find the ROI and then have fun. Don't be scared of doing something out of the box, because clearly we did it and now we're here with you guys. So have fun with it and do it. And what would I do differently starting again? Honestly, I'd probably create a creative calendar. That's keep it a little bit more on track. But as Sonia said, it's also some of our best when we're just chaotic. So don't stress about it. It's meant to feel good. If it's not feeling good, it's not fun. And it's not going to work.
Like Nick said before, you have to know who you're talking to. You have to know what message you're trying to hit home with. Luckily, we have Sonia. She's our data queen that keeps everything in line for us, to where we know who to talk to and who to send to. And like we said, we kind of started with the 80s movies, and that's a big chunk of where our donors come from, is people that are class of 85, class of 83. And they were hitting home on those nostalgic memories that they have from being in college. When I got hired, I said in my interview to them that I wanted to come back to NMSU because it gave me everything. I met my wife here, and my daughter wears cheer uniforms to the football games, and I wanted to find my spark again for my love for NMSU. And that's what we're trying to do with our T videos, is make people remember why they love NMSU and why they wanted to give back in the first place.
Well, thank you, Sonia, Nick, Chevy. Thank you so much. Congratulations on winning the award. But more than anything, just thank you for sitting down with us to talk through the campaign. I feel like this is legitimately going to be very inspiring. Hopefully we'll let a lot of teams just, shake off a bit of the anxiety, have some fun, get more creative, tap into their students to help spur the creativity, figure out what's going to work for them, or frankly, just steal the 80s movie theme. That could work as well, too. That's where prime donors are right now. Hey, why not lean into that? But I really do appreciate all the time that you've given with us today for the interview.
Thank you.
Thank you.